Hello everyone, I am Dr. Sharad Kumar, Assistant Professor, Department of Wildlife Sciences, Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh. In this lecture, I shall be discussing the remaining chapters of Wildlife Protection Act 1972. We already discussed about the chapter 4 and now I am starting with the chapter 4.1a. So this chapter 4a is inserted in the act through the amendment in 1991 and deals with constitution of Central Zoo Authority, its members, its function, procedure and recognition of zoos, acquisition of animals by a zoo, and prohibition of teasing and exploitation of the animals in the zoo. Section 38A said that central government is supposed to constitute a body known as Central Zoo Authority for the purpose of exercising the powers and function assigned under this act. Section 38B provides the details about terms and condition of service of chairman and members of the Central Zoo Authority. Section 38C specified the function of the Central Zoo Authority. The functions of Central Zoo Authorities are specify the minimum standard for housing, upkeep and veterinary care of animals kept in a zoo, to evaluate and assess the functions of zoos with respect to standards or the norms as may be prescribed. It also recognize or derecognize the zoos established in India. It also identify endangered species of wild animals for purpose of captive breeding and assigning responsibility to a zoo. And then coordinate the acquisition, exchange and loaning of animals for breeding purposes. It also ensure maintenance of stud books of endangered species of wild animals bred in captivity. It also identify priorities and themes with regard to display of captive animals in a zoo. It also coordinate training of zoo personnel in India and outside India and coordinate research in captive breeding and educational program for the purpose of zoos. It also provide technical and other assistance to zoos for their proper management and development on scientific line. It also performs such other functions as may be necessary to carry out the purpose of this act with regard to zoo. Section 38D to Section 38G talks about the procedure followed by the authority, grant and loans from the central government, annual report preparation by authority and submission of report to the parliament. Section 38G deals with recognition and operation of zoos in India, and it states that no zoo shall be operated without being recognized by the authority, and a zoo shall not be established without obtaining the prior approval of the authority. Section 38I states that no zoo shall acquire any animal listed in Schedule 1 of this Act until and unless they have prior permission of the Central Zoo Authority. Section 38J states that no person shall injure, feed, molest, or cause disturbance to the wild animals in the zoo or shall not litter the area of the zoo. Chapter 4B. So this chapter 4B entitled as National Tiger Conservation Authority, and it is inserted in the Act in 2006 by an amendment to provide better protection to tiger and to ensure the long-term conservation of tiger in India. The section 38K of this chapter provide definition of National Tiger Conservation Authority, Steering Committee, Tiger Conservation Foundation, Tiger Reserve State and Tiger Reserves. These are the terms and the various bodies which are established under this chapter. Section 38L of this chapter said that central government is supposed to constitute a body known as National Tiger Conservation Authority for the purpose of exercising the powers and functions assigned under this act. It also provides the details about the members and the composition of the various bodies of the National Tiger Conservation Authority. Section 38M provide details about terms and condition of service of members of the National Tiger Conservation Authority. Section 38N deals with appointment of officers and employees of Tiger Conservation Authority. Section 38O of this chapter deals with power and function of the Tiger Conservation Authority. The National Tiger Conservation Authority shall have following powers and perform the following function. It has to approve the tiger conservation plan prepared by the state government. It is supposed to evaluate and assess various aspects of sustainable ecology and disallow any ecologically unsustainable land use practices in tiger reserve. It also lay down normative standards for tourism activities and guidelines for Project Tiger for tiger conservation and ensure their due compliance. It also provides for management focus and measures for addressing conflict of man and wild animals. It also provides information on protection measures including future conservation plan, estimation of population of tiger and its natural prey species, status of habitats, disease surveillance, mortality, patrolling, reports on untowards happening and such other management aspect as may be deemed fit including future plan conservation. It also approved coordinate research and monitoring on tiger, co-predators, prey and habitat in various tiger reserves of the India. It also ensured that tiger reserves and areas linking one protected area or tiger reserve with another protected area or tiger reserve are not diverted for ecologically unsustainable uses except in public interest and with the approval of the National Board for Wildlife and on the advice of the Tiger Conservation Authority. It also facilitates and support tiger reserves management in the state for biodiversity conservation initiative through eco-development and people's participation as per approved management plans and to support similar initiatives in adjoining areas consistent with the central and state laws. The NTCA also ensure critical support including scientific, information technology and legal support for better implementation of the tiger conservation plans. It also facilitates ongoing capacity building program for skill development of officers and staff of tiger reserves. The sections from 38P to 38T deals with procedure to be regulated by NTCA, grant and loan to NTCA, preparation and placing of annual report and audit report before the Parliament. Section 38U of this chapter deals with constitution of steering committee and state that a state government may constitute a steering committee for ensuring coordination, monitoring, protection and conservation of tiger, co-predators and prey animals. It also states that Chief Minister shall be the chairman of the committee and also provide the criteria for inclusion of other members. Section 38V of this chapter deals with the declaration of a tiger reserve and preparation of tiger conservation plan by the state government. It states that state government shall, on the recommendation of Tiger Conservation Authority, notify an area as tiger reserve State government shall prepare a tiger conservation plan, including staff development and development plan for the proper management of the tiger reserve. Section 38W deals with alteration and denotification of tiger reserves and state that no alteration in the boundary of a tiger reserve shall be made except on recommendation of the Tiger Conservation Authority and the approval of the National Board for Wildlife. It also states that no state government shall denotify a tiger reserve except in public interest with the approval of Tiger Conservation Authority and the National Board for Wildlife. Section 38X deals with establishment of Tiger Conservation Foundation. The chapter 4C is entitled as Wildlife Crime Control Bureau and it is also inserted in the Act in 2006 for taking actions to reduce and bring under control the crimes related to wildlife taking place in the country. Section 38Y of this chapter deals with Constitution of Wildlife Crime Control Bureau and states that central government may constitute a Wildlife Crime Control Bureau in the country. Section 38J deals with power and function of the Wildlife Crime Control Bureau. The Wildlife Crime Control Bureau shall collect information on organized wildlife crimes, coordinate with states and various agencies, help in implementation of obligation under various international conventions and protocols, build capacity of scientists and professionals, help to foreign agencies, advise to central government on issues relating to wildlife crimes having national and international ramifications, and suggest changes required in relevant policy and law to prevent the crime against the wildlife species. Chapter 5 is entitled Trade or Commerce in Wild Animals, Animal Articles and Trophies and deals with declaration of possession of captive animals or animal trophies, preparation of records, issuing of certificate of ownership and regulation of transport of animal at the time of the enactment of the Wildlife Protection Act. The section 39 of this chapter states that wild animals other than vermin, which are notified by the central government, also wild animals which are found dead or killed by mistake, trophy or uncured trophy or other animals, articles or meat derived from the wild animals, ivory imported to India or any article made by such ivory, any vessel, weapon, trap, tool used to hunt the wild animals in the zoo shall be property of the state government. In case of national park or sanctuary is declared by the central government, then such will be the property of the central government. The section 40 of this chapter states that every person in possession or custody of any captive wild animal should compulsory make declaration to the chief wildlife warden about the number and description of the animal or article under his control, custody or possession within 30 days from the commencement of the act. Such person is exempted if he obtained the written permission from the chief wildlife warden or the authorized officers. No person except one with a certificate of ownership can keep, acquire and keep in control, etc. any captive animal except by inheritance. So, someone can inherit it, the things related with the wildlife, but somebody cannot get the license now to buy or purchase the things related with the wildlife. It also talks about declaration of such inheritance should be made in 90 days to the chief wildlife warden or the authorized officers. So, if a person is inheriting some things related with the wild animals, he or she is supposed to inform this to the Chief Wildlife Warden or any authorized officers within the 90 days of the inheritance. The above provisions shall not be applicable on live elephants and on the recognized zoos. Under Section 41 of this chapter, the Chief Wildlife Warden or the authorized officer on receipt of declaration under Section 40 have the power to enter upon the premises of a person or may make inquiries and prepare records of animal articles, trophies, uncured trophies, salted and dried skins and captive animal listed in Schedule 1, and also tag an identification mark upon the animals, animal articles, trophies or uncured trophies. Under Section 42, the Chief Wildlife Warden may issue a certificate of ownership to a person who is in lawful possession and after ensuring that the applicant has adequate facilities for housing, maintenance and upkeep of the animal ownership. Under Section 42A, any person having a certificate of ownership in respect of any captive animal, animal article, trophy or uncured trophy, meat or ivory imported into India, or an article made from such ivory surrender the same to Chief Wildlife Warden and it become the property of state government. Section 43 deals with regulation of transfer of animals and state that no person who has with him a captive animal with a certificate of ownership shall transfer by way of sale or offer for sale or any other commercial consideration. In case of such transfer to or from another state, he has to report the same within 30 days to the Chief Wildlife Warden or the authorized officer within whose jurisdiction the matters fall except to tail feathers of peacock and to transfer of captive animals between recognized zoos. Section 44, 45, 46, 47, 48 and 49 are not have any validity now as trade in wildlife product is prohibited in India. Section 48 prohibited transporter to transport wildlife without the permission of Chief Wildlife Warden. Chapter 5A deals with prohibition of trade or commerce in trophies, animals, articles, etc. Section 49A of this chapter provided definition for the birds used in this chapter. According to Section 49B, no person is permitted to begin or carry on business as manufacturer, dealer of scheduled animal articles, taxidermist practicing on scheduled animals, or dealer in trophy, uncured trophy derived from a scheduled animal, or dealer in captive animals being scheduled animals, or dealer in meat obtained from a scheduled animal. However, a person holding a license as taxidermist under Section 44 may be allowed to perform taxidermy on a scheduled animal if it is for or on behalf of the government or with the previous authorization obtained in writing by the Chief Wildlife Warden for and on behalf of any person for scientific or educational purposes. Cooking, serving, meat procured from scheduled animal in an eating house is also prohibited. According to Section 49C, every person carrying on business or occupation referred to Section 49B shall, within 30 days from the specified date, declared to the Chief Wildlife Warden or the authorized officer his stock of scheduled animal and their derivatives. Addition of this provide regulation of international wildlife trade as per provisions laid by the CITES. The central government shall form a managing authority and a scientific authority to regulate import and export of specimen of species which are found in the other countries also, and those countries which are the member of the CITES. Designation of Management Authority. The central government shall by notification designate an officer not below the rank of an additional Director General of Forest as the management authority for discharging the functions and exercising the power under this Act. The management authority shall be responsible for issuance of permit and certificates for trade of scheduled specimen in accordance with the convention, submission of report, and shall perform such other functions as may be necessary to implement the provisions of the convention. Designation of scientific authority. The central government shall by notification designate one or more institute engaged in research on species as scientific authority for the purpose of this chapter for fulfilling the function under the convention. The designated scientific authority shall advise the management authority in such matters as may be referred to it by the management authority. The section 49G, direction of central government. So central government can give direction to the management authority and the scientific authorities. Section 49H, international trade in scheduled specimen and restriction in respect thereof. And it states that no person shall engage in trade of scheduled specimen except as permitted under this chapter. Chapter 6 deals with prevention and detection of offences and penalties for the violation of provisions under this Act. The Section 50 deals with the power of entry, search, arrest, and detention, and it states that director or any other officer authorized by him in this behalf, or the chief wildlife warden or the authorized officer or any forest officer or any police officer not below the rank of sub-inspector can stop and search the vehicles or detain a person or seek assistance by anyone to perform his duties. Clause 8 of the Section 50 empower forest officers to do investigation and state that any officer not below the rank of assistant conservator of forest is authorized by the state government shall have the powers for purposes of making investigation into any offense against any provision of this Act. The Section 51 of this chapter deals with penalties and states that any person who contravenes any provision of this Act or any rule shall be guilty of an offense against this Act and shall on conviction be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 years or with fine which may extend to 1 lakh rupees or with both. If offense committed is in relation to any animal specified in Schedule 1 or where the offense relates to hunting in a sanctuary or a national park or altering the boundaries of a sanctuary or a national park, or where the offense relate to a specimen of species listed on Appendix 1 of Schedule 4, which is for the CITES, such offense shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 3 years, but may be extended to 7 years, and also with the fine which shall not be less than 25,000. In case of second or subsequent offense, the term of the imprisonment shall not be less than 3 years, but may extend to 7 years, and also with fine which shall not be less than 1 lakh rupees. Through Wildlife Amendment Act of 2002, a new chapter entitled Forfeiture of Property Derived from Illegal Hunting and Trade was inserted. This chapter empowers state government to forfeiture property earned from illegal hunting and trade, and said that if any person or any group of person or any trust acquired any property from illegal hunting or prohibited trade of wild animal under this act, the property should be forfeited by the state government. Such forfeiture of the property by the state government can be done by the procedure established by law. Chapter 7 deal with miscellaneous subject of the act. For example, Section 60 provide the protection against legal proceedings to officer or other employee of the central government or the state government for anything which is in good faith done or intending to be done under this act. It also provide for reward to person from the fine collected from offenders to provide assistance in detection of the offense or the apprehension of the offenders. It also empowers Chief Wildlife Warden to order payment of reward not exceeding 10,000 rupees to be paid to a person who renders assistance in the detection of the offense or the apprehension of the offenders. Section 61 of this chapter deals with power to alter entries in schedules and state that central government may add or delete any entry to or from any schedule or transfer any entry from one part of a schedule to another part of the same schedule or from one schedule to another. Section 62 of this chapter empower central government to declare wild animals mentioned in schedule 2nd as vermin for a specified period and area. So we can say that the animal mentioned in the schedule 1 cannot be declared as the vermin. The section 62A is added in 2023 to regulate or prohibit the import of invasive species and state that central government may regulate or prohibit the import, trade, possession or proliferation of invasive alien species which pose a threat to the wildlife or habitat in India. Through section 63, central government make rules on various issues of wildlife conservation and management in India. Section 64 empower state government to make rules on various issues of wildlife conservation and management in their state. Section 5 of this chapter deals with protection of right of scheduled tribes and state that nothing in this act shall affect the hunting rights conferred on the scheduled tribes of the Nicobar Islands. Section 66 of this chapter states that as from the commencement of this act, every other act relating to any matter contained in this act and in force in a state shall, to the extent to which that act or any provision contained therein corresponds or is repugnant to this act or any provision contained in this act stand repealed. Species categorization in various schedules. Schedule 1. The Schedule 1 covers endangered and rare species. These species need rigorous protection and therefore the hardest penalties for harming these species are prescribed under the Act. Species mentioned in this schedule prohibited to be hunted throughout India except under threat to human life. In addition to this, trade of these animals is prohibited totally. Some of the species included in Schedule 1 are tiger, black buck, Himalayan brown bear, brow antler deer, blue whale, common dolphin, cheetah, clouded leopard, hornbills, Indian gazelle. Schedule 2. Schedule 2 species has good population and are not rare in occurrence. They are also accorded high protection when can be declared vermin by central government in special circumstances. Species mentioned in this schedule prohibited to be hunted throughout India except under threat to human life or to human property. In addition to this, trade of these animals is prohibited totally. Some species under this schedule are nilgai, cheetal, Indian hare, desert hare, wild pig, coppersmith barbet, red-vented bulbul, etc. Schedule 3. Schedule 3 has a specified plant. It includes those plants which cannot be uprooted and cannot be cultivated without permission. Some plants under these schedules are Neelkuranji, tree turmeric, pitcher plant, blue vanda, red vanda. Schedule 4 has the categorization of CITES and include the foreign species also, and there is restriction on their trade in various countries which are the members of the CITES. Thank you.